Good morning. Magandang umaga po. I have been very bored thinking about what I'm going to do because of this pandemic. I wanted to go back to the Philippines, enjoy my life a little bit, since I planned to do that, 3 or 4 years ago. But now I'm stuck here for the past 2 years in the United States. Of course, we are better off here than in the Philippines, and thank God for that. But I really want to continue on with my journey. But right now, I can't do anything. So I can't help it but reminisce on the past. What I have done, how I achieved what I achieved, what I accomplished over the years, and appreciate that. So let me share that with you. Stay with me. I was just thinking, in the past so many years since I left the Philippines, I have really accomplished a lot, and I'm very happy about that. I graduated at the age of 20, and I started working for SGV, Sisip Goras Velayo and Company, which is the largest auditing firm in Asia. And it did not take too long before I received an offer to immigrate to Canada and also to study and get my master's degree in University of Massachusetts. I was not able to get a scholarship though, and I don't have the money to pay for it, so I opted to go to Canada as an immigrant. I started, and that is not without struggle. I had to struggle to accomplish that. Then I went to Canada and worked as an assistant chief accountant of General Tire and Rubber Company Limited. That's General Tire. They manufacture tires. And that is just a title. I was only receiving $475 a month at the time. That's Canadian dollars, which is lower value than the United States. So that's approximately $5,000–6,000 a month. My wife, who was then my girlfriend, was in the US, and she was making $8,000 US dollars a month. So I said, this is not right. And while in Canada, I tried to move ahead by starting up my own business, which is an import-export business. And I was operating at the attic of this house that I'm renting. Well, one of the biggest deal I was trying to work on is the entry of the San Miguel beer into Canada. At that time, there was no San Miguel beer in Canada. But I failed. And the reason being, I did not have the capital. I needed capital, not only for the importation, but also for tips to the government officials who will be approving the entry of the Philippine beer. So it's not only happening in the Philippines, it's also happening overseas. So I decided at that time, well, maybe it's time to... I had a choice of sponsoring my girlfriend from the US to Canada, or me going to the United States and getting married in the US. So I decided to get married in the US. During my first month, I looked for a job in the US after I got the permission to stay and to work in the United States. I received 2 offers the same day after 1 month. One is as an accountant for a laundromat that offered me $12,000 a year. That's US dollars. And another one at a food service company, ARA Services Inc. And the salary was like $8,000 a month. So the laundromat is 50% higher than ARA. But the laundromat only offered general accounting work, which is the same anywhere you go, whether you're in Canada, Spain, US, Canada, Philippines, same. But the other job at ARA is on taxes, and I have no background on US taxes, which differ quite significantly, and I needed that background. So I said, I'm going to stay at ARA. I stayed at ARA for 5 years, but during the first 6 months, there was an evaluation of the positions, and my salary jumped from 8,000 to 18,000. That's a lot of jump. So that's even better than had I accepted the job at the laundromat. So there was 18,000. Keep in mind that these dollars are significantly more compared to today's dollars because of the cost of living. Okay, so it may be very small today, but it was big at that time. So just look at the numbers in a relative sense. Now, I worked at ARA, and during that time, I tried to sit for the CPA exam. And I was not able to because they required U.S. citizenship, and I was not one. So I said, what am I going to do? I'm going to try to do part-time real estate. So I got my real estate license. Luckily, that licensing did not require U.S. citizenship, so I got that. But I did not succeed because I realized that it's hard to sell real estate on a part-time basis. Then during my 5-year stay at ARA, I continued to inquire about CPA licensing, and luckily they removed the citizenship requirement, so I was able to sit for the exam. So I did that and I passed. After 5 years at ARA and equipped with my CPA license, I was able to find another job at Sunoco, Sun Oil Company, also in the tax department, which, I enjoyed taxes for a while. But then, after I moved to Sun Oil as a tax accountant, I realized that I'm not getting any expertise because every year they keep on changing the tax law. So I began in the beginning, ground zero again. I never become an expert. Now, there was an opportunity to work as an accounting manager for a subsidiary of Sunoco. So I moved there after exactly 1 year in the tax department of Sunoco. I went to a subsidiary named Sun Distributors. So I was now the accounting manager at that time. To me, it's still just a title because I didn't have anybody reporting to me. So I was at Sun Distributors maybe for a good 8 years. And I tried to move up, but that organization is very, very small. We're only maybe about 5, 1 president, 3 or 4 vice president, and me. And I didn't have any staff. But at the time, I was able to establish my skills, and I was able to take another job in a trucking company, trucking subsidiary of Sunoco also. So all these jobs are within Sunoco. So I went to the trucking company as a VP of Corporate Development. That's just a title. What they really wanted me to do is to look at the financials and the operations of the company and give my recommendation in form of a plan because the company was experiencing problems. So I said, gee, what am I going to do if I lose this job because the company was closed down? They guaranteed to me I will be the controller of Sun Carriers. That's the parent company. So anyway, I went to the subsidiary of a subsidiary of Sunoco. I think the name is Carrier Systems Motor Freight, to troubleshoot the company to see if it could be salvaged. Well, it couldn't be salvaged, so I went back. It was closed down, and I went back to Sun Carriers. Now, while it was a Sun Carriers were sold off. It was spun off. So at that point, I did not have a job. Well, I worked as a consultant, so I did consulting, which is more in the sales arena. Of course, I use my financial skills, but it's really more selling yourself. In the process, I made good money doing that, but in the process, I got exposed once again to Sun Distributors. And they hired me. And they hired me to be the chief financial officer of the company, or of a subsidiary of Sun Distributors. The name is SunSource. And although I'm no longer interested in finance because I got exposed into sales and I said I want sales, I first declined the offer, but the people who I know from previous employment with them talked to me and said, Danny, why don't you take that job? You make your own position anyway. You will do whatever you want to do. But then I realized later that the president offered me that job not necessarily for me to take over the finances, because the finances is being done in Arkansas. But what he really wanted me to do is to sell. So I wound up selling until I became the president of another subsidiary in Mexico, the same business but Mexican subsidiary of SunSource, and it's called SunSource de Mexico Limited. After 5 years there, the company, the Mexican subsidiary, was sold off, and this company in Philadelphia, which is Sun Distributors, was spun off. It was sold, basically. So I had no job at that time. So I said, what am I going to do? So this is what I did next. Created a corporation called surplushunter.com. And at the time, I was selling the key making machines or key duplicating machines. And my source is Hillman Fasteners. I did this without investment on my part. When I received the order, I basically was just selling. When I get the order, I send it to them and they ship it, drop ship it. I bill the client and I pay Hillman Fasteners. That was the business. And I did well. I did so well that Hillman decided to do it themselves. This was during the dot-com years. So at that point, I said, gee, there is no problem to entry in this business. So I did some soul searching and I decided, no, I'm going to drop this. So I stopped the surplushunter.com business and I went to real estate. I went to real estate with the intention of making it grow and giving it to my children. I did very well in real estate, to my surprise. I did very well until I became a real estate broker, from a real estate salesman to real estate broker. And I was doing very well until I got tired. I said, well, because my children were not really interested in real estate or in particular in sales. So I said, well, I'm doing this for nothing because eventually I retire, this is going to be gone. I will not be able to give anything to my children. And I was already getting tired of real estate, although very interested, enjoying my life. I was getting tired. So I decided to retire. I retired with the thought of, well, I'll just maybe travel, because that's what I enjoyed doing while I was working at Sun Distributors. I was doing nothing but travel. That was my main thing. Also, firearms, hunting, those were my hobbies. So travel it is. So I am going to travel. I decided to go to the Philippines and travel the various islands because there's a lot, and I did notice some changes, which is good. And I said, while I'm traveling, I can take pictures, but then I said to myself, gee, what am I going to do with these pictures? And I thought about YouTube, and I researched about YouTube, and although I used YouTube when I was doing real estate, then they did not pay anything, or at least I did not pursue getting paid. I said, wow, they do pay something. So I got into YouTube. I will not tell you the history on the YouTube, but now that is what I'm doing, and I'm enjoying it a lot. And thank you very much for my viewers. I really appreciate your patronizing my channel. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm doing okay. I'm not a millionaire. I don't make a lot of money. I do it more as a hobby, and I am happy about it. I'm just hoping that this coronavirus is going to be over soon so I can proceed. So meanwhile, I'm doing this talking head, talking about various things, sharing with you what I learned in Medicare, what I learned in medical insurance, what I learned about the Philippines, the dual citizenship, and so forth and so on. So I say to myself, so what have you done? I have done a lot, a lot. And the things that I have done did not happen by accident. It did not. I had to pursue each and every one of them. So what is the moral lesson to this story? Guys, you can do whatever you want. You have to persevere in achieving what you want to achieve. Don't expect failure. Don't expect everything to be hunky-dory and everything is not going to be successful. I've faced several failures in my life. I have faced several successes in my life. But the challenge is being able to achieve what you plan to achieve, not happening because you were lucky, like winning the lottery ticket and all of a sudden you're a millionaire. It's not that. Because those could happen to some people, but very seldom will you achieve such a luck. So you need luck, number one. Number two, you need to work for you to hit that luck. So I say to myself, well, I'm retired now. I'm waiting for this coronavirus to be done. But if it doesn't happen and I reach the end of life, I'm happy with what I achieved. And I hope my children will be able to achieve the same thing, sort of, in their own way, if not better than what I have achieved. I'm happy. I have a full life. And that is the story of my life. That's the story of my life. Like what I said, I hope it doesn't end here. I hope this coronavirus is going to be gone and I'll be able to enjoy some traveling a little bit before I pass away. So guys, this is what I wanted to share with you today. Hopefully you learned something from it. Thank you very much for watching. Please do subscribe to my channel unless you have already done so. And smash that notification bell so you get notified of future postings. Thank you. God bless and make it a great day.